5 things to know for May 29th, severe storms, Trump trial, Gaza, bird flu, South Africa election live updates, jurors to decide Trump's fate in hush money case, Trump trial moves toward end, 5 takeaways on the closing arguments morning report, Trump trial heads to the jury, GOP favored to win this fall, political world braces for Trump verdict, Trump, GOP are early favorites for White House. Congress former Trump attorney has Colorado law license suspended for attempting to overturn 2020 election. Results: rough seas damage US-built Gaza pier, delivery suspended, White House and 21 states to announce grid modernization program. The Biden administration is set to announce a new initiative with 21 states Tuesday to modernize the U.S. power grid, ahead of a summer likely to tax its capacity. Next breaking news: the U.S. faces a deadly maternal mental health crisis, and it may be getting worse. Pregnant women and new mothers are facing a deadly mental health crisis across the United States. Next breaking news: DNC plans to virtually nominate Biden ahead of convention amid Ohio ballot concerns. The Democratic National Committee is planning to virtually nominate President Biden ahead of the party's convention after the Ohio state legislature deadlocked on a fix last week to get the president on the ballot in November. Next breaking news: lobbyists for AI-related issues surged in 2023. Report: the number of lobbyists working on issues related to artificial intelligence surged in 2023 compared to the previous 4 years as the federal government considered AI regulation, according to a report released by the advocacy group Public Citizen on Wednesday. Next breaking news: after whites only job posting, tech staffing firm settles with DOJ. Virginia-based tech company will pay thousands of dollars in fines for a job posting that requested whites only to apply. Next breaking news: Biden campaign to launch black voter program at Philadelphia rally. President Biden's re-election campaign is set to launch the Black Voters for Biden-Harris initiative at a majority black college in Philadelphia on Wednesday. Next breaking news: Musk's Neuralink brain chip startup seeks to enroll 3 patients in study. Elon Musk's brain chip company Neuralink is looking to enroll 3 participants to evaluate its implant in a study that could last more than 5 years. Next breaking news: billionaire wants to take sub to Titanic-level depths after OceanGate implosion. Tampa, Florida, a billionaire from Ohio is planning to plunge to Titanic-level depths in a multi-million-dollar submersible, nearly a year after a sub tragically imploded on its way to the ship's wreckage. Next breaking news: federal judge rules New Hampshire law limiting teaching of race, gender topics unconstitutional. A federal judge in New Hampshire struck down a New Hampshire law that limited public schools' teaching of race and gender topics, ruling the law is unconstitutional Tuesday. Next breaking news: think tank says Alito misconstrued its research in SC gerrymander case. The Brennan Center for Justice accused Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito of misconstruing its research in a South Carolina gerrymandering case. Next breaking news: Harvard leaders no longer commenting on issues unrelated to core function. Harvard will no longer be commenting on issues unrelated to the core function of its institution, the university announced Tuesday, a decision made after months of turmoil over the Israel-Hamas war. Next breaking news: government has no business trying to save journalism. It seems everybody wants to save the journalism industry these days, except for the people who matter most, news consumers. Next breaking news: former President Clinton to headline Biden fundraiser. Former President Clinton will join a fundraiser for President Biden's re-election bid in Virginia in June, a source familiar confirmed to The Hill. Next breaking news: OpenAI's Sam Altman signs pledge to give away most of his wealth. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and his husband have signed the giving pledge, vowing to donate most of their wealth to philanthropic causes. Next breaking news: death row gone rogue. It's time to regulate lethal injection drugs. The efficacy and safety of execution by lethal injection depends on the efficacy and safety of the drugs used to put people to death. But in the last few years, the process of procuring lethal injection drugs has come to resemble the Wild West. Death penalty jurisdictions are doing whatever they can, including circumventing the law, to get what they need to carry out executions. Next breaking news: giving young children peanut products cuts allergy risk. Study finds feeding children peanut products from infancy until the age of 5 cuts their risk of developing a peanut allergy into early adolescence, researchers say. Next breaking news: Israel-Gaza war live. Fresh attacks on Rafah amid reports that U.S.-made weapons used in strike that led to deadly fire. Spain's far-right Vox leader came under fire on Wednesday after surprise talks in Jerusalem with Israel's prime minister to denounce Madrid's recognition of Palestinian statehood, with the government accusing him of fueling war, reports Agence France Presse. Next breaking news: Russia-Ukraine war live. Police search European Parliament over possible Russian interference. It has been more than a year since Russia invaded Ukraine and sparked a conflict that has gone on to change the world. We began live blogging the events of this war in February 2022, just as Russia prepared to invade, and since then we have continued to provide quality, trustworthy coverage 24/7. Our teams around the world have written more than 4M words, that's almost 10,000 words a day on average, on this, Europe's biggest war since 1945. Next breaking news: Papua New Guinea PM blames extraordinary rainfall for deadly landslide. Papua New Guinea's Prime Minister James Marape has blamed extraordinary rainfall and changes to weather patterns for multiple disasters in the Pacific Island nation this year, including a landslide last week, which may have killed thousands. Next breaking news: majority of U.S. voters support climate litigation against big oil. Poll shows as U.S. communities take big oil to court for allegedly deceiving the public about the climate crisis. Polling shared with The Guardian shows that a majority of voters support the litigation, while almost half would back an even more aggressive legal strategy of filing criminal charges. Next breaking news: Biden official says more sanctions are needed to counter Russia war economy. Russia's shift towards a full-fledged war economy requires the West to extend its sanctions policy, including by sanctioning third-party entities that trade with Moscow, a senior White House official signaled on Tuesday. Next breaking news revealed: the rural Californians who can't sell their businesses because LA is their landlord. A red horse statue perched on a 12-foot pole greets drivers coming to the town of Bishop from the south. It's one of the first landmarks here, part of Mike Allen's Corrugated Metal Feed Store, a local institution that sells camping gear, livestock feed and moving equipment in this expansive region of inland California. Next breaking news: Liquid Death. The viral canned water brand killing it with Gen Z. What's in a name? Well, if you ask the makers of the viral water brand Liquid Death, the answer is about $1.4 billion. Next breaking news: it's become a battleground. Mexico's local candidates face deadly violence. Breakfast with Juan Miguel Ramirez, candidate for mayor in Celaya, Mexico, is interrupted by the thud of army boots coming down the stairs. Next breaking news: White House signals Rafah strike doesn't cross red line. The White House on Tuesday indicated an Israeli strike that killed dozens of Palestinians in Rafah did not cross a red line that would lead to a change in U.S. policy. Next breaking news: Biden campaign taps January 6 officers to campaign in battleground states ahead of presidential debate. 3 police officers who defended the U.S. Capitol during the deadly January 6 riot will help President Joe Biden's campaign in battleground states ahead of next month's debate between Biden and former President Donald Trump, the campaign announced Tuesday. Next breaking news: FBI arrests dreaded January 6 defendant. It says rammed Trump sign into police line. Washington. A January 6 participant whose dreaded blonde locks and face tattoos made him a memorable face in the pro-Trump mob has been arrested in South Dakota, the FBI said, accusing him of shoving an officer during the Capitol melee after ramming a giant metal-framed Trump sign into a line of police officers. Next breaking news: Haiti gets a new prime minister as nation remains under siege by gangs. San Juan, Puerto Rico. Gary Conille was named Haiti's new prime minister Tuesday evening, nearly a month after a coalition within a fractured transitional council had chosen someone else for the position. Next breaking news: Ukraine urgently needs soldiers, but some men are desperate not to fight. KYIV, Ukraine urgently needs new soldiers, but some, left uneasy by brutal fighting and intensifying conscription efforts, are desperately trying to avoid being called up. Next breaking news: several injured as gas leak explosion blows out first floor of Ohio building. A gas leak appears to have caused a large explosion in downtown Youngstown, Ohio, on Tuesday afternoon, reportedly blowing out the bottom floor of a 13-story building and injuring at least 7 people. Next breaking news: thousands in Dallas may be in the dark for days after more damaging storms ripped through the area. Communities from Texas to New York were picking up the pieces Tuesday after a devastating holiday weekend brought tornadoes, storms and heavy rain that killed at least 24 people and left hundreds of thousands without power. Next breaking news: bilingual AI brain implant helps stroke survivor communicate in Spanish and English. Scientists at the University of California, San Francisco have developed a bilingual brain implant that uses artificial intelligence to help a stroke survivor communicate in Spanish and English for the first time. Next breaking news: dengue fever, once confined to the tropics, now threatens the U.S. Meg Norris was traveling in Argentina in April when the first signs of dengue fever hit her. The weather in Salta, just south of the Bolivian border, was warm, but Norris, a 33-year-old from Boulder, Colorado, zipped a fleece sweatshirt around her body to stop herself from shivering. Next breaking news: ex-KKK leader's child comes out as transgender in new memoir. As a child, Black came out to the world as a white nationalist on the syndicated daytime talk program The Jenny Jones Show in 1999. Then, while trying to hide their white nationalist credentials as a college student roughly a decade later, Black was outed in a student-run online forum. Next breaking news: Melinda French Gates says she's donating $1 billion to women's rights. Melinda French Gates will donate $1 billion over the next 2 years to women and family rights around the globe, including reproductive rights in the post-Dobbs era. Next breaking news: California lawmaker introduces bill to regulate AI use by state agencies. California lawmakers have concerns about artificial intelligence in the private sector, but there are also concerns about its use by state agencies. Next breaking news: storms weaken for North Texas overnight. North Texas, it was an active morning across North Texas with damaging hurricane-force winds moving through the metroplex. Next breaking news: storms leave widespread outages across Texas. Cleanup continues after deadly weekend across U.S. Storms with damaging winds and baseball-sized hail pummeled Texas on Tuesday, leaving more than 1 million businesses and homes without power as much of the U.S. recovered from severe weather, including tornadoes that killed at least 24 people in 7 states during the Memorial Day holiday weekend. Next breaking news: homeowners face soaring insurance costs as violent storms wreak havoc. Insurance companies are hiking the cost of homeowners coverage to offset the growing risk posed by powerful storms of the kind that ripped across 5 states over the Memorial Day weekend. Next breaking news: Albert Ruddy, Oscar-winning producer of The Godfather, dies at 94. Albert S. Ruddy, a colorful, Canadian-born producer and writer who won Oscars for The Godfather and $1 Million Baby, developed the raucous prison sports comedy The Longest Yard and helped create the hit sitcom Hogan's Heroes, has died at age 94. Next breaking news: Missouri mother walks into police department after fatally shooting girl and drowning boy. Sheriff says authorities made 2 gruesome discoveries Tuesday after a Missouri woman walked into a police station and told officers that she fatally shot one of her children and drowned the other, officials said. Jefferson County Sheriff Dave Marshak said at a news conference that authorities believe both children were killed Tuesday morning. Next breaking news: China to invest more than $830 million in solid-state battery research. China plans to invest more than 6 billion yuan in a government-led project to develop solid-state batteries, with 6 firms eligible for state funding to work on the next-generation technology, a person with direct knowledge of the matter said. Next breaking news: SpaceX launches European-Japanese climate research satellite ESA and JAXA collaborative mission on May 28. SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket successfully launched the Earth Cloud Aerosol and Radiation Explorer satellite from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This mission, a collaboration between the European Space Agency and the Japanese Aerospace Exploration Agency, marks the 7th flight for this Falcon 9 first stage booster. Next breaking news: World Central Kitchen pauses Rafah aid work because of Israel's ongoing attacks. World Central Kitchen said Wednesday it's pausing its humanitarian aid operation in Rafah and moving its community kitchens further north in the Gaza Strip because of ongoing attacks by Israel's military. Next breaking news: Indian capital of Delhi breaks all-time heat record as authorities impose water rationing. India's capital territory of Delhi sweltered to its highest ever temperature of 49.9 degrees Celsius on Tuesday, as an oppressive heat wave forced authorities to impose water rationing. Next breaking news: more than 500,000 Texas homes and businesses without power after a streak of powerful storms. Hundreds of thousands of Texans are without power, and many could be in the dark for several days after fierce and deadly storms tore through the state Tuesday and over the holiday weekend, leaving people to pick up the pieces of devastated homes and businesses amid uncomfortably hot weather. Next breaking news: exclusive nicotine-like chemicals in U.S. vapes may be more potent than nicotine. FDA says London nicotine alternatives used in vapes being launched in the U.S. and abroad, such as 6-methyl nicotine, may be more potent and addictive than nicotine itself, though the scientific data remains incomplete, according to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and independent researchers. Next breaking news: Japan to launch first eco-friendly satellite made of wood. Japanese scientists have built the world's first eco-friendly satellite made of wood and plan to launch it into space later this year. Next breaking news, the latest. 3 Israeli soldiers are killed in a booby trap explosion in Rafah. Israeli media says 3 soldiers have been killed in Rafah, the Israeli military said Wednesday. Israeli media reported that the soldiers were killed when a booby trap exploded Tuesday, and 3 other soldiers were wounded. The military says at least 290 soldiers have been killed since the ground operation in Gaza began in October. Next breaking news, U.S. gives school districts $900 million for electric school buses. The White House on Wednesday unveiled nearly $900 million in awards to 530 school districts to replace thousands of aging, gas-fueled school buses with cleaner, mainly electric models. Next breaking news, most and least dangerous states for online dating. Study. Anyone with an account on Tinder or Bumble could tell you that finding love online can be dicey. But rather than just not clicking or being unattracted to their matches, users have reported romance scams, unwitting dates with sex offenders, and even violence. Next breaking news, ban on TikTok lifted on French overseas territory of New Caledonia. The lifting of the ban on TikTok follows an earlier decision to end a state of emergency that had been imposed on New Caledonia. The state of emergency had ended on Monday evening. Next breaking news, a bus falls into a ravine in southwest Pakistan, killing at least 28 people and injuring 20. Quetta, Pakistan. A speeding passenger bus fell from a highway into a rocky ravine in southwest Pakistan early Wednesday, killing at least 28 people and injuring 20 others, officials said. Next breaking news, on this day in history, May 29, 1851, Sojourner Truth delivers famed "Ain't I a Woman's" speech. Sojourner Truth, the African-American abolitionist, women's rights advocate and social activist revered to this day for her presentation on racial inequalities, delivered her famous "Ain't I a Woman" speech on this day in history, May 29, 1851, at the Ohio Women's Rights Convention in Akron, Ohio. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for getting latest update of United States, trending news and top stories about USA.